Zhongli will die in the end of Genshin Impact. He is Genshin Impact's one of the most interesting characters. The dude is allegedly the oldest character in all of Genshin Impact, has the most confirmed kill count, and is a walking encyclopedia. Today, I am going to tell you why he is one of the game's best written characters and how he is being set up for the endgame of Genshin. Hello, this is Bata325, a new Genshin Impact YouTuber, and I am starting a new series where I do character analysis of popular Genshin Impact characters. In the first episode, we are looking into Zhongli. Being released all the way back in version 1.1, Zhongli is still a fan favorite, with rank 1 at the 2023 popularity poll and top 3 at 2024. It's clear that fans are craving more information about him. The first introduction of Zhongli in the story is with him faking his death. In Liyue, every once a year, Zhongli descends in his dragon form and bestows upon them the divine prediction, guiding them on how to run Liyue for the coming year. We barely arrive in time for the Rite of Descension, and when we go to observe it, we see that Rex Lapis has been slayed, and his corpse falls from the sky. Obviously, we later find out that he is undead, and he faked his death for the purpose of making people adapt to change. Remember this word. This word is the single most important word that shapes his character. Previously, Liyue was run by Rex Lapis and his adepts, but they are of the ancient time. Rex Lapis has been a powerful god in this world, even before the Archon War, which occurred over 2000 years ago. It was a devastating war, and Zhongli is the character who has the most ties with it. He has been ruling Liyue since and even before the Archon War. Throughout times, people have refugied in his protection, such as the devotees of the Salt Goddess, and he has developed Liyue to what it is today, but the time has changed. Zhongli only descends once a year, and Liyue is mostly run by the Chiching now. After 2000 plus years of ruling Liyue, Zhongli believes that he is not needed anymore, and decides to step down, thus faking his death. But he doesn't just step down, he tests whether the Liyue people can protect themselves, and after an epic Liyue final battle, he trusts the entire matter of Liyue to Ningguang, and he steps down. In this process, not only he, but even his adepts, some of whom hated the idea of humans ruling, understand it, and we see a new change in the ruling system of Liyue. Zhongli now works as a consultant in Wang Xing's funeral parlor, and spends his time as a normal human. Both of Zhongli's story quest is about the ancient gods he knew during the Archon War. In our first story quest journey, we are accompanied by Wanyan, a devotee of the Salt Goddess, and she believes that Morax assassinated the Salt Goddess Havria out of envy of her power and left her devotees alone and lost in the world. She claims that since this is Morax Liyue, the history is written in his favor. Zhongli tells that he will face the truth unbiasedly and adds on the fact that Liyue no longer belongs to Morax. As we continue through the story quest, we see devastating scene of people turned into salt, scared, in a panic, and running from something. As we reach the source of that tragedy, Wanyan wants to break a contract, and as a punishment, Zhongli tells her the truth.
I'm afraid to say that the god of salt, Havria, was not the powerful god you imagine her to be. Rather, she was a small and weak god who yielded to all other gods. When it came to war, she lost, never able to win a seat among the seven. During the Archon War, the gods of this world used all their strength and cunning to vie for control of Teyvat. But Havria instead chose to flee. She thought that by giving up before a fight could start, she could save herself and her people from the war. However, during such a long war, there is no end to the advances of aggressors. After making countless concessions, Havria lost all of her lands, until only one small haven remained. In her last days, she had not even a single blade to defend her people with. The story continues that some among her people realized at last that this gentle, kind, but weak god could never protect anyone in wartime. The Archon War was cruel in the extreme. Instead of consigning her to the agony of defeat, they thought perhaps it would be better to give her a quick release. No matter how weak the god, the power that flows forth when they are slain is beyond the strength of mortal coils to bear. Those who could not flee were thus transformed. Those of her people who were untouched by this disaster left for Liyue, where they sought refuge with Rex Lapis. Their descendants feared Havria's remnants and lived in terror that she had laid upon them an eternal curse. So they risked their lives to come here, to break the sword, and offer up obeisances in hopes that her anger might be appeased. But they need not have done so. For how could a god who had never once resisted, even till the end, nurse hatred for her people in her heart?
No! That's not true! That can't be true! You're trying to test my faith in the god of salt. Preposterous! You are a follower of Morax! Don't try to trick me!
Havria's story served as a warning. Faith in a god who has already passed away will do you no good. It is the same for Havria, and it is the same for Morax as well. Vanyan has faith in a god that has already passed, and that's not doing her any good. Her brain can't handle the truth, but if she changes herself and accepts the fact that her faith will do her no good, that's enough for Zhongli. At the end of the story quest, Zhongli throws the relics of Havria's past to the Guyun Stone Forest and tells that a past relic whose story ended over 2000 years ago shouldn't be brought to Liyue. And then Zhongli tells us something that the lore community will never forget. His second story quest is no different. This time too, it's about his old accomplice, Azdaha, whose memories have been eroded. We are on a mission to find miners who disappeared suddenly, and we find out that it was done by Azdaha, former friend of Zhongli. We see two parts of Azdaha, good and evil, and we, along with the good part, help to seal Azdaha again. Then we are shown the conversation between Zhongli and Azdaha. This conversation tells us the most about Zhongli's character. In the very beginning of their conversation, Zhongli mentions that he is no longer the Geo-Archon. He makes it clear that he isn't involved in Liyue's affairs anymore. When Azdaha tells us that he may be awakened a second time, Zhongli quotes, "If that day comes to pass, Liyue must prepare itself to face you, and that, even without a god, Liyue remains a nation of men." He says that he was once their god, and that he will be there to witness his rise and fall. And Azdaha says,
"All life is shaped and then ground away by the endless flow of time. You were always the strongest among us, yet it would seem that even you have been eroded. That's unimportant. Fate is ordained by heaven. Even if our mission had already concluded, it would be cowardly not to strike out on the road of departure. You may live forever, doomed to a lonely existence, yet even this is temporary. When you reach the end of time, those people, those past and future relationships predetermined by fate, they will be waiting for you."
these three lines contain so many things. Let's start with the very first line. You were always the strongest among us, yet it would seem that even you have been eroded. If we go forward in the story quest a little, Zhongli talks to us about erosion and says, the greater the power, the greater the danger erosion may bring about. And that's one of the reasons he stepped down as the Geo-Archon. We are given hints about him being affected by erosion in the far future. The second line contains things about fate being ordained by the heaven, and the third line is a gold mine. When you reach the end of time, those past and future relationships predetermined by fate will be waiting for you. Okay, so we know Zhongli is adapting to change, and he is throwing away his identity as a Geo-Archon. The strange thing is that even though both of his story quest is about his past friends and memories, in the first story quest we see him throwing away relics as not to bring back past memory into Liu and letting go of old things. But in the second story quest, nostalgia, old memories and feelings are discussed a lot. Even if a person starts a new identity, his character is shaped by his old feelings, the relationships he had in the past, and the things he endured, make him what he is today. Even though Zhongli has stepped down from the role of Geo Archon, he acknowledges many times in the story quest that he was once the god of mankind, and he acknowledges in last that he still cares about Liu. So a question remains: if Liu was in a grave danger, and all the combined effort of people of Liu failed, will Zhongli be able to do nothing and just watch the events unfold from the sidelines? Zhongli is a mysterious character. There are so many hidden details about him. He is the only character alongside New Villette whose story quest is named after his constellation. His story quest is called Historia Antiqua and not Lapis. Every other character has their story quest named after their constellation, but not Zhongli. Some people have assumed that he might be a dragon just like New Villette, which makes sense. Zhongli has a dragon form, and the first time we see him, it's his dragon form's corpse, and he has been depicted as a dragon many times. I don't think the reason is simple as that. If you want to know more about it, you can watch Ashika's video on Zhongli. I will leave the link in the description. In Sumeru Archon Quest finale, the music was so good. In Sumeru Archon Quest finale, when Rukha Devata is erased from the Irminsul, everyone's character stories were changed. In reality, Rukha Devata was the one who was ruling Sumeru for a long time, and only recently did Nahida step in. But after erasing Rukha Devata from the Irminsul, everyone's character stories were changed, and they all think that Nahida was the Archon all along. Everyone's character stories were changed, except Zhongli. Previously, Zhongli's character story 5 said that only 2 of the original 7 remains, which refers to him and Venti. Rukha Devata is erased from Teyvat. After the Sumeru Archon Quest, his line should have said only 3 of the original 7 Archon remains, because now to this world, Nahida was part of the original 7, but no. His updated character story 5 says only 2 of the original Archon remains, and it mentions who the 2 are specifically, him and Barbatos. And yes, I said updated. His character story 5 was updated after the Sumeru Archon Quest. It's like the devs wanted us to notice. They altered the character story but not the main part. Zhongli still knows about Rukha Devata. Guess who else knows about Rukha Devata? Us, an outsider. This updated character story contains more things, but I will get to it in just a minute. We know that Irminsul can be tampered with and will be tampered with. Guess what? Zhongli knew that too. After his first story quest, he says that we are a backup of some sorts. As long as an outsider like us exists, memories of Teyvat can be preserved. Since we are descendants and we are not of Teyvat, our memories can't be changed. But how does Zhongli know that the Irminsul is going to be tampered with in the future? Also, in the Stone Tablets compilation volume 1, it says that in the beginning Rex Lapis descended. It doesn't say he was born. His coming to Liu is called the Rite of Descension. The game is hinting that Zhongli may not be from Teyvat. We can't change Wanderer's name to his dragon name, which is also pretty suspicious. Okay, getting back to the altered character story 5. We now know that the Geo Archon who stepped down from ruling Liu still knows about Rukha Devata. But what does his altered character story quest say now? It changes. Only 2 of the first 7 remain too. Only 2 of the first 7 remain in a position of rulership. It seems that the devs just changed the story quest to let us know that it has been altered, and they purposefully didn't change the line that hints about Rukha Devata. At first glance you might think that, read the altered version. Only the 2 of the first 7 remain in the position of rulership, Rex Lapis and the Anima Archon. Wait, hasn't Zhongli already stepped down from it? Okay, if you saw the title and clicked into this video, you must be wondering, where is the Zhongli dying part? If you didn't see Zhongli dying in the title, I probably changed it for CTR reasons. Anyway, after diving deep into his lore, we can start making sense of his character. In the first story quest, we see that Zhongli is a kind soul, but he does what is necessary. He had killed several gods during the Archon War, but he took even his enemies' devotees as refugees. He is able to change with time. He killed gods in the time of killing gods. He ruled Liu when it was necessary, and now he has left Liu for humans to rule, as Liu is a nation of men rather than adaptism. In the second story quest, we learn that he admires his friends deeply, but he will slay them if it is necessary. He likes thinking about nostalgia a lot. Even though the times have changed and he wants to change with time, and not bring the relics of his past to Liu. I don't think he is completely being honest to himself in those situations. His favorite hobby is listening to tales of old times and arguing about history facts. Even though he tries to move on, past memories are what define him, and he wants to recall memories of past so much. Okay, Zhongli has such a death saga around him. We hear him talk about erosion so much in his Cater story quest. He is worried about him eroding and says that it's inevitable. Erosion affects memories and make one lose himself. The powerful the being, the danger the erosion can be. So, if Zhongli is alive for long, will he be eroded and destroy the things that he once cherished? I don't think so. It would make for a great Cater arc for Zhongli. Instead of him eroding, I think he will die beforehand. Zhongli is connected with death so much. In surface level, he works as a consultant in Wangxing funeral parlor. He faked his death, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. Guili Plains, his original domain, contains of two parts, Gui and Li. Guili Plains can be translated to land of returning and departing, where Gui means returning and Li means departing. And on whom is this video about? Zhongli. His name has a departing meaning behind him. Asuka related Zhongli to the Egyptian deity Apis. She mentioned how Apis is related to death, and the main thing about Apis is funerals. When an Apis bull dies, it creates an extravagant funeral. She used these things for her theory, but let me tell you a little more about Apis. Apis is an Egyptian deity, specifically a bull. It was related with rebirth and reincarnation. When an Apis bull died, there would be a large funeral for it. When an Apis bull died, it would be reborn in another bull, ensuring the continuation of God's presence on earth. We all know that stuff similar to this happened in Liu. But my question is, with a guy who is so closely related to the deity whose main thing is death, will a fake death really justify it? When an Apis bull died, it would be reborn in another bull, ensuring the continuation of God's presence on earth. We see this happening in Liu. After Rex Lapis' death, rulership transferred to Chiching, basically continuing his legacy. But does this really cut it? I don't think the fake death justifies this transfer at all. In his second story quest, Zhongli tells that he was a god of Liu for a time, and we know that's his identity. That isn't changed. His Cater story 5 is altered, and it says that Zhongli remains in rulership. Note that this change was made after Sumeru's final Archon Quest. He gave up his rulership all the way back in Liu's first Archon Quest. Surely this isn't just a mistake. Even though Zhongli has quit being a ruler, it seems that he still has something left to do, and he will die in the process of doing so. Okay, so what will he lose his life to? Or I think the better question is, who will he lose his life to? As poetic as it would be if it was Azdaha, whose memories has been eroded, I don't think it will be him. Zhongli has specifically said that Liu must prepare itself to fight him. Okay, think back to the finale of Liu. We see that Zhongli has made a deal with the Tsaritsa. He has made a contract to break all contracts. It's a mystery, but with our amateur theory-mentary vision, we can figure it out. At first, I thought this line was a double entendre, one meaning being it will be his last contract, and the other being it will end his other contracts. But after digging deeper, I saw posts of people saying that in Chinese there is no such line, and he only talks about it being his greatest contract and stuff. Either way, he made this contract with Tsaritsa, someone who is working on bringing down Celestia. Remember that Zhongli can't tell us about our sibling because of his contracts as well. He clearly knows a lot about Celestia, but can't skip due to contracts. If the end all contracts is a double meaning, then it might help nullify his contracts against Celestia. And even if it is not, which is a high chance by the way, he is still helping Tsaritsa overthrow the heavenly principles. I think in the future, Liu will be in danger. Zhongli effectively helped Tsaritsa in her goal to burn the world, and Tsaritsa might just do something that just might make celestial beings attractive at. Liu has a lot of God's corpse and a lot of danger that can be revived. In the war between Tsaritsa and Celestia, some celestial being may decide to use those gods and invade Liu for that, and clearly the Chiching can't do anything about a celestial being. We know that Zhongli decided to step down as he heard a merchant telling his employee, "Your work is done," and he tested Liu to see if it can fend for itself. But is Zhongli's test really enough? Is that the biggest threat that Liu will ever get? The answer is no. We know that many bad things is going to happen to Tibet in near future. We have been given hints about Dotore burning the Peninsula and other stuff. Zhongli still cares about Liu. He admits it in his second story quest and says it's part of the job. And his Cater story still calls him a ruler. So when a threat is upon Liu that the people of Liu can't defend against, Zhongli will have to step in. remember the fact that he is kind. He stepped in to protect Zhao from the chasm too. Since the threat will be super powerful, he will have to lay down his life. This will probably happen towards the end of Genshin's storyline, so we can assume that things will go great after this battle, which is part of a bigger war. He will end up sacrificing himself to protect the thing he spent his entire life building, and finally after his true death, the rulership will finally transfer to the people, and he will pass away without any corruption from erosion, thus finally completing his very long life and resting in peace afterwards. But that was all about Zhongli. Check out this video where I go into every character's lore in 10 words or less.